So that leads into this next question. What tools and techniques minimize IP deficiencies? So many of you all mentioned this was one of your issues that you wanted to avoid were having deficiencies from citations. So let's talk about some common ones. Failure to follow standard precautions. So this one comes up frequently where we have clinicians that are not implementing standard precautions correctly. So they're not using their PPE, and hand hygiene is part of standard precautions as well. And so oftentimes we'll see hand hygiene as part of that as well, which falls under the second one, hand hygiene lapses. In all my years of infection prevention, it seems like every audit that I've gone through, hand hygiene always comes up. There's always one person they're going to find, which is not surprising. We're not perfect, but this is one that tends to come up frequently. Staff training gaps. This oftentimes comes up not so much because the staff have not been trained, but because it's not documented or the staff do not remember that they went through the training. So when the inspector asks them, they say, oh no, I was never trained on bloodborne pathogens. And you know good and well that they were, but maybe they don't understand that terminology and don't realize that's what they were trained. Inadequate cleaning and disinfection. This is similar to hand hygiene in that it seems to come up frequently. That it's just some of that low hanging fruit that if they're wanting to find something, oftentimes they will find it in one of those two categories. Failure to follow manufacturer's instructions. This is a big one that we've really been talking about a lot in the last several years, just because we realize that people are not following the label. And what's on the label is from the product company, and they really know how the product works best. So it's important that we're following those manufacturer's instructions. PPE misuse, this one has been fairly common, I would say, since the pandemic, especially just because we were doing a lot of things during the pandemic because of the shortage of PPE that we would not normally do. And unfortunately, some of those bad habits carried over even after we restored some of those PPE supplies. And then finally, inadequate risk assessment and plan. That's why I explained that process earlier, because oftentimes people don't understand the connection between that risk assessment and how that is what informs your plan. They are tied together and need to be done sequentially.